Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of the Exile production blog. This week we're going to talk about equipment and all of the parts that we have and what we use for any basic shoots for indie filmmaking and for any shoots that we use for any advertising or for corporate work. So first off, we want to go straight to the toolbox. Lots and lots of tools. That'll be something that you want to pick up very early on. Extension cables, gaffer tapes and some cinefoil. Cinefoil is more of the lighting, I'll come back to that. We use a Manfrotto, I'll go down right to the name, the Manfrotto MVH502A, which is quite a sturdy tripod. It's very nice. I've had it for about 9-10 months now, maybe almost a year, I think. Really helpful for the slider, which then takes me on to the Canova K2. It's quite a nice slider. It's about 3 foot long, just short. It is nice. It would be nice if it was a little bit more fluid and can be heavy at times, but then sliders are quite heavy in general. On top of that, we have another Manfrotto fluid head, which is the MVH500AH. I'm just going to grab focus. Sorry about that. And next up, we have the Lilliput monitor. Now, this is a monitor I've had again for about almost a year. It's 1280 by 720, so the resolution isn't that great, especially when you're shooting on 1080. You don't really get to see a lot of the true image from the camera. It can have problems with connections between the monitor and the camera as well. Well, mine has, so I tend to not use it that much. Colors aren't accurate, and I would probably say you want to wait and invest a little bit more time in maybe a Marshall monitor or a Shogun where they can externally record 422. This is powered by LiPo batteries, 12 volts. If you're going to look into LiPo batteries, I recommend you doing your research before actually using them or purchasing them, because they can be quite volatile if you incorrectly use them. Next up is the audio. We have the H4n, the Zoom, and that's connected to a Rode NTG2 with the Rode blimp. You've got the wombat there, the dead wombat, which then goes over if it's windy. That's connected to the Rode boom pole. It's just some headphones that I use for my computer. Next up, what I'm using is the Zoom H1. Now I use this along with the Rode SmartLav as a lavalier mic. You can get an adapter that connects to the Zoom, and you can basically use it as an external recorder. Shove it in your back pocket. You've got a lav mic connected to you. It's really helpful. Really nice, cheap way. It costs less than £100 for that. And then we also use these Invisilavs where the microphone slips into there, and then you stick that onto somebody's skin or onto a bit of clothing, and it hides quite well. We have the Glide Gear. It's basically Glide Cam, but it's called Glide Gear. Just a cheaper version with a Manfrotto quick plate. Giotto quick plate. Had this for quite a few years now. DSLR based. As long as it's balanced right, it's fantastic. Works really well. But because we don't have a shoulder rig, what I tend to do is I use it in substitute for it for just this gimbal here. So the little shakes that you can get out of holding a camera, this little gimbal takes all of those shakes out, especially if you're holding it for quite a while. Not practical, but it does work in substitute. Quick LED lights, it's not accurate, but it's nice for a little kick light, something for the background. Something I would recommend everyone getting if you're doing any kind of filmmaking. If you're in a large team or if you're spread across a few miles from each other, these are very helpful. Some radios, just to get in touch with each other very quickly, even if it's just to the green room. Turn your phones off, and this won't interfere with any of your audio equipment. I'm actually using the camera at the moment. The camera I'm using is a Canon 550D. I think they're just the same as the 5D and the 7D. You can argue with that with full frame, but I'm not looking for full frame, and because we have a cropped frame, we can use EFS lenses. Really nice and quick, efficient way of achieving a long focal length, 55 to 250. Because of the 1.6 crop factor, that at 250 turns into a 400mm. This is a 30mm Sigma 1.4 very, very nice for low light. Some lens cleaners, always nice and helpful to have. Lots of lens caps. So the lens mount of the Blackmagic Cinema camera we're using is a Micro Four Thirds mount. That means it's passive. And we can't use these electronic lenses to the best ability. We can't control the aperture through the camera with these lenses. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the old Canon FD lenses. It means that we can manually control the aperture of each lens externally instead of electronically. It also gives us a nice opportunity to use the old FD range, see what the glass is like. I've only ever used these on SLRs, not in any kind of digital format, so that'll be a really nice opportunity. Okay, next up is the lighting equipment. We have two of what they're basically redheads, just really basic versions of them. These are £15 lights from Screwfix. We have two of them, and instead of having barn doors, we just use some cinefoil. Cinefoil is just matte black foil that's quite robust, and you can mold it into any shape that you want. Instead of using barn doors, we like to use those. Next we have a 3-point lighting kit of some really basic. They're Photo Geeks from eBay, about £150 for a set of 3, and that also comes with a softbox. So that's basically inside of there, which it doesn't throw a lot of light, but it's really nice for any kind of daylight or kick lights in the background. These, on the other hand, are 400 each, so you've got about 800 watts overall. That'll push quite a lot of light if you're using it indoors. It creates a lot of shadow if you're close to the subject, so what we tend to do is we will use a 5-in-1 reflector card or a reflecting board to diffuse the light, so the light will come out of them and through the diffuse, and that's what we tend to use for our key light when we do the production blocks. Just for a smaller example of what it would look like with the cover on it, this is another one, a smaller version of the 5-in-1 bounce cards. Other than that, what we also have is we have some tools. We have a smoke machine, that's the one. We have a smoke machine, some extra batteries, camera bag, other bags for all sorts of other equipment. Yes, we have the tools, any basic tools, any gaffer tape, and lots of extension cables. A few bits and bobs additional, but they're quite minor really, just like grey cards, colour cards, and other stuff like that, and torches. And that's probably all we have, I think. That's what we have. I'll give you a wider view of what it is, and that's pretty much our whole dining room filled with all of our equipment. Any additional stuff that we want to get a hold of, as in cranes and steady cams or any professional lighting equipment, we'll tend to rent on the day of any kind of shoot. Same with any cameras. We don't always use the Canon 550D for any shoots. We'll rent in for any equipment that we need for any professional corporate films or any advertising. But in the terms of Exile, as I said, we'll be using the Blackmagic Cinema camera on the Micro Four Thirds mount. So that's it. If you want to know more or keep in touch, then by all means find us on Twitter, which is Twitter/Exile Short Film, which is also translates into @Exile Short Film, and on Facebook we are Exile Short Film UK. Until then, hope you've enjoyed the collection of goodies we've put on for show this week for our basic setup for equipment. But yeah, we'll speak to you next time. Not quite sure what we're going to talk about, but we'll keep you informed. Okay, bye bye.